full story about the vineyard. I know. I mean, some of you guys, you've been there. We've been chatting and so on. But I think it'd be really nice if you can recap with the else where you come from and how you started the business, so everybody is clear where you can take the journey back to 1973 and how your dad came across out of him getting knocked off on the pitch. Yeah, that he went to plant some vines. So
sure.
If you want to tell the story, because I think it's worth everybody hearing.
And sort of in 1972, late 1972, my father, winter basically, it was football season, so Australian rules football. And does anybody know what that is? Yeah. So he was playing football and had his nose broken, basically playing football. And his best friend at the time was an intern, trying to become a doctor. And he went to see his friend at the hospital. It might have been Subiaco, I'm not 100% sure. His friend said, "Well, okay, David, I'll take you to fix your nose. I'll take you to this guy, the resident in charge. You've got to meet this guy. He's into wine as well. You're into wine, and he'll fix your nose. We'll have a chat about wine, and it'll all be fantastic." And so he took him over, and the guy was a guy named Bill Pannell at the time, and. So Bill Pannell, obviously famously started Mosswood, and they got to chat. And Bill said, "Well, I've got a vineyard, and I've just planted this vineyard in Margaret River. You should come down and have a look at it sometime or whatever." So Mum and Dad then, after that sort of happened, and then maybe a couple of months later, Mum and Dad decided that they'd take a holiday to Margaret River, and they went down, and in the local main street, they saw a property advertised for sale, which was Woodlands. Which was only, Andrew, how big would it have been? 9 hectares, 10 hectares at the time, the actual property that was for sale.
Yeah. And they included a lot of bushland actually.
Yeah, so bushland, and so they went there and like, okay, so it's right, it's near Bill's place. So they went and visited Bill and said, well, Bill said, I'll help you go over the property, and they took the shovel and they dug the holes all over the property and decided, that the soil was good. And Dad was also a surveyor. And he had access to the Lands Department's soil classification maps that had been done, I'm not sure when, probably in the 30s and 40s around Western Australia. So he knew that Woodlands was actually a parcel of what is defined as Wilyabrup loam, which is very rare actually to get a whole parcel of one type of soil in the Margaret River. And their digging had confirmed that, and then they put an offer in on the place, and the Lands Department said, well, it's called Dial. They said, well, you can't. We're not going to let you sell this place because it's not big enough. And so basically, they had to go, and the next door neighbour had this property, and I think they were selling one field, and then they basically had to go and visit the old lady and say, well, we need you to sell us the other field so that the council will let the land sale go through. And they went there, and she wouldn't sell it without actually physically meeting them, and because she just wanted to confirm that they weren't doctors. But lawyers and surveyors, they were okay, but the doctors were spoiling the whole ambience in the place. But so anyway, they sold it, and that basically, she just sold us the extra bit of land. They ended up paying about, it's about 17 hectares, and they ended up paying, I think, about $10,000 for it at the time. And that's what Woodlands is basically. So
and at the time, to put it in perspective, at the time Margaret River had the highest unemployment rate in Australia. It was basically it's like Nimbin. Nimbin's still like that. Maybe wine and Nimbin's going to be big, but it's basically full of surfies and all the unemployed would just go to Margaret River just to kind of chill out. So there was nothing there. There was a dairy industry there that was collapsing. So the area was just depressed, and there was nothing there. And they actually thought it was quite unusual that all these doctors were coming from Perth and wanted to put their sticks in the ground because they'd all come put their cutting out and they'd stick it in the ground, and then they'd wait and they go, oh, you're crazy, you've got to grow cattle or nothing at all. Yeah. So the doctors came with their sticks in the ground. We were the fourth people down there, and the first that weren't doctors actually. And so when we bought the land,
who else was there in terms of wineries?
So you had the first was Dr. Carletti, who had Vasphilics. Right. And then you had Dr. Kevin Cullen, who was Cullen, Mosswood. And they were next to each other. And then you had you had Dr. Bill Pannell, who was Mosswood. So they're all doctors. And then, so my father was a surveyor and a footy player. I think that actually would have been a good a good introduction, because all the rest of them, if you're from Margaret River, which is a country town, and all of a sudden the doctor comes and wants to buy your land, you're like, well, you know. But I think everyone in Australia loves football players. It's, they play football players here. So I think that maybe that was good. But yeah, high unemployment came in, and the land was probably the cheapest land you could buy in Australia.